Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we're playing some more White Weenie. This is one of my favorite decks to play, and I actually just finished writing a comprehensive guide on how to play the deck using this specific list, which has been my ideal list for the meta. So if you're interested in picking the deck up or diving a little bit deeper with how to play the deck, go ahead and check out that link in the description down below. But since we're White Weenie, we're playing a whole bunch of 1-drops with Novice Inspector and Thraben Inspector to make sure that we keep up our cards throughout the game. Lunarch Veteran is a nice creature that can die and come back, as well as gaining us a lot of life throughout the game. And Steadfast Unicorn is really great in the late game, breaking board stalls against other creature decks. We have Core Skyfisher, which can pick up any of our various creatures or even some of our other permanents for great value. Rafine's Informant lets us dig one card deeper and lets us discard a Lunarch Veteran, a Prismatic Strands, or maybe even a Battle Screech to get a little bit of extra value. Speaking of Battle Screech, probably the best card in the entire deck. 4 1/1 birds for 4 mana is extremely strong. And then, of course, we have so many ways to pump up our creatures with 2 Summon Chocomog, 2 Guardian's Pledge, a Remosian Rally, a 1 of Eagles of the North, and of course that Unicorn I mentioned. Strands can be used defensively or offensively to keep our creatures alive during an attack. And the Journey to Nowhere and Thraben Charm act as our removal. 17 planes and a couple idyllic ranges can give us some counters, buffing our creatures up. And then for our sideboard, Martyr of Sands, Destroy Evil, Journey to Nowhere, Revoke Existence, 2 Standard Bearer, 2 Holy Light, 4 Dust to Dust, and a Palace Sentinels. So let's take this for League and see how we do. Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sack and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron. I swear every single time I play White Weenie, I play against Bokina, who plays Elves, which is one of our worst matchups. So once again, starting off on a rough start. Thraben Charm is good against Elves. We have 4 lands, but we only have 1 creature, and Unicorn's also really good against Elves, but are we even going to be able to survive very long if we only have 1 creature? I think we'll keep it just because we have a decent shot of just drawing a bunch of creatures, which is obviously our best. And honestly, if we get a hand that's more traditional, that just goes like 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, that's actually not as good against Elves because we're just never going to be as fast as them. So the interaction actually can be pretty good here. So we're going to keep it and hope for the best. We do get a Guardian's Pledge, which can be really good later. So we're probably going to have to pick off like a Priest of Titania or a Timberwatch Elf that they play. There's the Priest. We get an Inspector. Swing for 1. Sometimes you can let the Priest live because, you know, if all they have is mana and no ability to use it, then it's not that big of a deal. But they still have 4 cards in hand. There's just no guarantee that they don't have like a Lead the Stampede or something, and then it's just really good to have the Priest around. We're going to play, or rather they're going to play a Timberwatch Elf. We still have a Thraben Charm to kill that, which I think we're going to do. Play the Inspector, pick off the Timberwatch. Of course, this uses both our removal spells really early, but Timberwatch surviving means we can basically not get any attacks at all, and potentially can save itself at some point. They play a Vanguard, Quarian Ranger, and a Masked Vandal. Vandal taking the clue is honestly a little annoying because we're almost out of cards here, but these are not the worst cards we could have seen. Just a 3/3. Obviously, it grows a little bit more. Strands is okay. I think we'll cycle the Eagles for a Grange here. We're still 2 lands away from being able to cast it. I mean, now 1. And now, as happens very often in this matchup, we're just already at a standstill, hoping they don't get a draw spell. Play a Birchlore. Their Vanguard can attack. I could block it and Guardian's Pledge just to eat it. I use the Pledge, but this is kind of the last time I can get the Vanguard before it's going to grow too big. Then we're fully at a standstill. They can't attack or anything, and we, assuming they don't get like Lead the Stampede, we have better draws. So I think we're going to do this. Eat the Vanguard. I could have just Prismatic Stranded it, but it's going to be a problem later, so. Alright, we get a Choco. I could play that, attack with the Inspector. I could just activate the Unicorn, but the Choco can also attack. I think we just cast it. So with a 3/3, they could triple block, but I'd still get to pick off 2 of their 1/1s, which I'm pretty okay with that trade. They find a Nyxborn Hydra, it looks like. We do have enchantment removal for Hydra, but of course we've already used 2 charms. We can blank it with the Prismatic Strands a couple times. Of course they can untap it though, so it can still be a blocker. So, Journey to Nowhere is not bad, but of course can't hit the Hydra. It could just hit the Vandal. I could target the Ranger with it, and then they'd have to untap in response. That's not great. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power. This is 6, 7. So if I Journey the Masked Vandal, I actually still can't block and kill the Hydra if it attacks in. I could just attack here. They untap. I deal 5 to them with the Strands. Doesn't seem very good. You know, I think we do Journey the Ranger. This means that their guy doesn't have the ability to untap. So like they can untap it now, but then in the future they can't untap it, which means that they at least have to choose between attacking and blocking. And if they choose to attack, we might be able to race them with the Strands in our hand, is my thought. Attack for 7. Yeah, 6 damage here. I guess I didn't even hit this, so it's got 9 toughness. We're going to cast the Strands. I'd like it to just be in our graveyard so I can use it for free later. And that allows me to activate the Unicorn and still hold up the Strands. Of course, they have the Vandal. That's... I mean, it's not as good as a Lead the Stampede or Winding Way, but it's still a very good draw for them immediately after we got the Journey. So they can still untap this. Pretty unfortunate. We get a Veteran, and also this Choco dies next turn, which is pretty rough. Play Veteran, we're going to activate Unicorn and attack with the team. They're going to untap and block, and then I'll Strands it, I guess. I don't really know how we win this one. I guess if we just hold out and hope for another Thraben Charm, but I just think that seems unlikely. They're going to block the Choco, which actually is already going to die next turn. Obviously, I lose the pump next turn, but I actually think I just let that go since it's already dying. We'll deal him 7, pass the turn. They attack for 7. I think we'll just take it. Theoretically, we could play enough creatures or have a pump spell where we could trade the Strands for the Vandal next turn, or if they play like an Avenging Hunter, I'd like to have the Strands for it. For now, we're just going to Inspector, though. Gain a life, get a clue, crack that right away for just a land. We'll pass. Unless we want to just throw a creature away, I think we want to Strands this here. Kind of need our creatures. Sentinel. If we draw like Inspector into Thraben Charm, then we have a shot. I mean, if we just draw Thraben Charm, but obviously like Inspector first would be best. Battle Screech is not bad. Flyers, gains us some life. Flash it back. With the Unicorn, pumping them next turn. I mean, they do have 2 reach creatures. That was a really good draw, though. We'll play a land, pass the turn. They attack. I could just take it. I could also block with the Veteran to intentionally get another flyer. I kind of like that. Obviously, it's got trample. We're still taking a bunch, but they have a Ranger. This lets us, like, pump the birds, attack, they block 2, they take 4, and then I can get back the Veteran. But I'd be eating the Sentinel, so then I could theoretically hit for another 4 next turn. Journey lets us hit the Sentinel. Okay, I also have to survive next turn. This is dealing 7, so I'd have to block it with 2 of these. I'm going to have Vigilance, though, so these birds, if I really need, can trade off for some guys. So here's the question. Should I just pump the birds and attack, or should I... And then I get the Veteran back, or should I go for the Journey this turn? Because Journey just doesn't take a creature that's super relevant. It takes a Reacher. Obviously, I can't get the Hydra. I think we should get back the Veteran. This also gains us a life when we lose a bird. It's another attacker next turn, and then we Journey them. They have to draw really well, or I think we can get them here next turn. They're going to untap the Vandal, swing with the birds. Do I want to swing with these? Because they block. These are all 1 power or 1 3s. If I attack with the Unicorn, they're going to throw a couple guys in front of it, though. Unicorn's too important. I think I need to leave back. But this Inspector and this Inspector I can probably attack with. Although then do I die on the crackback? Because if they eat this here, chump, trade, I might not have the toughness, actually. I'm not sure it's worth swinging with those. It's close, but we're going to just swing at the birds, hit for either 4, and they lose the Sentinel, or 6, if they want to keep the Sentinel. So they choose to lose it. No, they reset, and they keep it. So they go to 2 here. We'll gain a life. And we'll pass to them. If they don't get anything too good, we have lethal on them next turn. And they swing with everything, because they're dead, so they're dead on board. So we're at 5, so this tramples for 4, so if I do this, I have to block everything else. Which means I would lose all my creatures, but they have 2 they can untap. No, because they can untap before damage. So, let's see. I need to keep 2 flyers. Now they could untap this too. Okay, this is tough. I could journey this. If I block here, I'm absorbing 5. So I'm taking 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to block 1 more. Block here, so I'm taking 4. But I lose all of my birds, except for I have this 1 flyer and this unicorn. But then they can untap 2 of these. I can only... Oh, if they have a random creature, they could block. Because if they don't, and they only have 1 creature, they untap 2, but then I get to journey 1 of them. If they don't have another creature, my unicorn and my veteran can get in for lethal. I have to keep unicorn. Birds do just... I think I have to block like this. But then if they just have any random creature, I'm going to lose. But I don't think I have a better block. So this is what I'm doing. And I assume if they do it right, unless they have something I'm not expecting in hand, yeah, they're going to untap with both Quarian Rangers before damage here. So they're going to have their blockers. Yep, pick up this, or untap the Sentinel. Go to damage. I'll go to 1, but I'll gain a bunch. But if they can play... So I can journey the Sentinel. If they have any creature to block, though, I'm going to die. Unless I draw like a Guardian's Pledge. No, that's not going to do it. Grange? No, that doesn't do it either. Because I can journey this, but then they still have 2 blockers. I guess I can make them block the Phantom, which means this can eat this. Or I journey this, and it's still 6 power, so I'm going to die to it next turn anyway. Ugh, so close. I mean, I'm going to take the Sentinel here. Grange on the Unicorn. Pump, we eat this. That doesn't do me any good. It was so close. They have another Sentinel. Swing with this, so I have to block with the Unicorn. I could have put the counter on here, so I wouldn't have had to block with the Unicorn. That wouldn't have made a difference, and then they could have attacked with these, and I would have died, pretty sure. Yeah, they could have just attacked with everything. I guess I would have not quite won. Skyfisher doesn't do enough. Yeah, I mean, they also got the extra Sentinel here, because I could Skyfisher the Phantom, or Skyfisher the Grange, put a counter on here and attack for lethal if they didn't also top deck the Sentinel, so they got exactly what they needed. I guess I could pick up the Journey, take this, it gives them the other one back, it doesn't do anything, and then I die. Oh my gosh, that was so close. Alright, well we cut a bunch of 1-drops because they can't really get through very effectively, as we saw, and instead we get Holy Light, Standard Bearer, another Journey, and a Destroy Evil. This one's decent. We have a good curve, and then we have a Holy Light to hopefully wipe away a good amount of their creatures. Start with an Inspector. They're on a mulligan. They have a Quarian Ranger. Let's see. We get to attack for 1. I can play Skyfisher. Rafine's Informant is more aggressive, though. It is on the ground, but I think we're going to go for that. It's just less aggressive if it's just a 2-1. Dies to everything. I think I'm going to get rid of the other Informant. The counter's pretty important here for the speed, and especially just not dying to their stuff. I'm probably just going to Holy Light these 2. This is way too much mana to not kill right away. Playing a Choco would be pretty nice because we could hit for a lot of damage, but Priest and Quarian Ranger, like I'm usually killing any Priest, especially with any other card, but certainly with a Quarian Ranger there. And here, let's see, I could hit for 4. I kind of think I hit for 4 and I double Skyfisher bounce Plains, and then next turn I can Choco for just a ton. They go to 11. Usually I don't like getting little value out of the Skyfishers, but I think we're on the aggro plan here, especially with the Choco, because now we have 8 damage on board. This makes it 12, so they're going to have to chump or trade or something. Vandal. Well, maybe I should have picked up the Clue just because Vandal was always a possibility, but I guess if they use the Vandal on that instead of the Choco, I'm not too upset. They Winding Way, and they do hit Priest, Birchlore, Sentinel. Tap those for the Priest. Okay, but they're going to have to chump with that Priest because of this. So, I mean, they still have another Priest, which is pretty good, but they only have a Sentinel in hand. They're also dropping really low here, down to 3, so either Skyfisher will kill them next turn. They play a Vanguard, Sentinel, and lead the Stampede. Need to hit something good. Hydra, Birchlore, Sentinel, Ranger is pretty good. Play the Birchlore, Quarian, Sentinel. They can untap the Priest. I mean, we have 2 flyers. They're going to have 3 Reachers. Even with our start, we're going to lose, it looks like, because they also have a Vanguard, so if I just attack with everything, we lose a flyer. Oh, they also get to attack. Why not? I'll take it. Pump the team. Yeah, might as well play the Inspector, crack it to see if I get relevant 1-drop. I'm not really sure what relevant 1-drop would be. Battle Screech would have been good if I could have just played that this turn, because now If I attack the Skyfishers, I lose 1, I eat a Sentinel. Rafine's Informant gets eaten by the Vanguard. Let's see, they only have 5 blockers. I thought this start was pretty good, especially with the Holy Light wiping away the Priest and the Quarian, but it looks like we're gonna lose. Because, like, they can just attack with a Ranger, and I have to block it. Because I don't have to block it by itself this turn, but I think we have to wait, and then next turn I Screech, and then the following turn maybe I can get lethal, but I feel like I'm going to be dead by then. Valakut Invoker. Why not? Kills a Skyfisher. Okay, we're dead. That's pretty annoying. Alright, this hand is decent. We're against Burn. Play a blocker for their Epicure. They grab the prize, getting back a Snacker. We get a Veteran. I kind of want to have a blocker for the Snacker, so I can play Skyfisher. I kind of want to Journey it, but then if they get a Gutter Snipe and I don't have a removal spell, that's pretty bad. I actually think maybe I just crack a Clue here, and then I can play Veteran Skyfisher next turn. Gains us a life, so even if this dies immediately to a Bolt, it's not bad. We do need to hit lands if we want to hit this turn for Screech, and I'd like to play the Veteran right before the Screech to maximize its ability to maybe be alive, gain us a bunch of life. Swing with the Snacker, we'll take it. Plot a Highway Robbery, we'll crack a Clue. 2 Guardian's Pledges in a row, okay. Play a Veteran, probably should have attacked first. Doesn't really matter, but if I'm going to play the Skyfisher, I'm going to pick up the Inspector. Might as well attack with it first. They don't care about the Veteran so far. Didn't try to kill in response to gaining a life. Also didn't just kill the Skyfisher on the end step. There's a Flame Breather, their Robbery from last turn. This could discard a Fiery Temper to kill the Skyfisher so they get in with the Snacker and maybe the Epicure. Yep. Play a Mountain. I mean, I'm not going to block. I'm going to hope I get a land here so I can Battle Screech. I do. Is Battle Screech actually the best thing to do now? Because if they kill the Veteran in response, I'm just left with 2 birds. And I'm at 11 life. I mean, I could go up to 15 if this works out perfectly. We're also just dying to this Flame Breather, especially if it doesn't work perfectly. So I could Journey this and then play an Inspector. It's not great. No, I think we kind of just got to Battle Screech and hope for the best. Alright, we do get the extra life here and get to flash it back. 15 with a couple blockers. Maybe we'll survive. But there's a Gutter Snipe, so probably not. Lightning Bolt for 6. Fire Blast for 7. They're just going to double Fire Blast here. Great. I could have also just Inspectored and left up Strands, but I don't think that was a winning strategy. We're going to bring in 3 Martyr Sands, take out another 3 1-drops. This has got some decent utility, but if we just get stuck on 1 land, we're going to lose very easily. Another 1-lander. We're going to mulligan this as well. I guess we'll keep, even though now we don't have anything until turn 4. I'm going to get rid of a Plains, and I think this rally past the turn. We get a Veteran. I'm going to play it now so that I can hold up Strands next turn. They have a Grab the Prize with the Snacker. We get Rafine's Informant. Well, I'm going to play that, and I guess I'll get rid of the Strands. So I have that available. I am wasting 1 use of it. Or I could just get rid of the Battle Screech, because I don't currently have the lands for it. Next turn I can play it. But I'm going to discard something to the Informant, so I might as well just discard the Strands, so that I have a little more protection this turn. They play a Robbery, and they have a Fiery Temper. I think if they try to kill the Informant, I'd use the Strands. They have 7 cards in hand. Oh my god. No, I think I gotta keep this for if we Battle Screech and they have an End the Festivities, or just obviously a Gutter Snipe turn. We get a Journey, gonna play Informant. We get the Plains, so tough choice, because I could Journey this Snacker now if I hold the Plains, but then I'm losing out on the potential for Battle Screech, and I can't even cast it this turn. If I discard Journey, I don't have any removal. If I discard Plains, I don't have a guaranteed Battle Screech next turn. I'm gonna discard the Journey, but none of these feel exceptionally good. Swing for 1 and pass. Swing for 2. They have another Grab the Prize with the Snacker and an Epicure. Of course, we get the Plains, but we do get to Battle Screech here. Flash it back. Hit for 3. They block with an Epicure. Interesting. Pass the turn. Searing Blaze the Informant. Sure. There's End the Festivities. This one we're gonna respond to. They pass. We get a Journey. I really wanted another Strands or like an Anthem or something. I kind of think I'd Journey one of these Snackers and then swing. Like if they'd block 2 of these and then get the Snackers right back, I think our aggression is just slowed way too much. They block the Veteran, which actually means I get to bring it back now. Obviously if they play Gutter Snipe and just kill us, then we're dead too, but we don't really have the cards to deal with that, so whatever. There's the Gutter Snipe. And another End the Festivities. Now we get a Thraben Charm, but we're dead. Alright, we have basically the same hand we had when we were against Elves, although I don't know up against Elves. So I think we mulligan it this time. It's just not very aggressive. If we're against something where Thraben Charm is really good, maybe it's also decent. But I don't think that's where we're at. These double charms sticking to our hand pretty well. And we have one land, so I'm going to mulligan this as well. Well, I can tell you this is not how my games have been going recently, for the most part, but I guess we'll keep 5, still 1 land. And I'm going to put back 2 Inspectors so that I can have a 1-drop, 1-drop, and then if we get to a 2-drop, I can Informant Battle Screech, and maybe we do have a game plan. We'll start with the Veteran, just in case we're against a burn deck. They play an island. We do get the plains, luckily. We're going to Informant, hope for no Force Spike. That works. Veteran, we're going to ditch the Battle Screech. I think we're just going to pass. 1 damage is not worth the potential we're playing against fairies and they flash in a Brinebear Intruder. It is Terror, but I didn't want to lose my Veteran. And in fact, it's Dimir Terror. They're going to snuff out the Veteran. That's pretty interesting. Opposed to the Informant. Get another plains. So I'm going to play a Veteran. I guess for mana efficiency, get back the Veteran from the grave. And then we could hit for 3, but I'm just going to go for the Screech. This is really bad if they draw their most likely one of, like a Suffocating Fumes. But if they don't do that, then this is a lot of damage really quick. So here's hoping. Our luck hasn't been exceptional today, so I'm not holding my breath, but they Thought Scour, and that is 1 mana terrors. Okay, just 1 terror. So if I swing with everything, they just block here. They take 4. I think I no reason to throw away the Informant right now. Let's just get in with the Flyers. And I could play Veteran, more life gain, and more creatures, or I could just crack the Clue. I think the life gain isn't super important, and the extra creature right now doesn't matter as much as if we get 1 card deeper, and then next turn we get like a Guardian's Pledge or something that could be pretty good. I'm gonna... Ooh, there's the Choco. I'm gonna crack the Clue now in case we get a land drop. Obviously, knowing the Choco is on top, the Veteran might have been better because we would have another creature on board to get pumped, but no way of knowing that. No attacks from them. So surely they have Counterspell. They could also have like an Unexpected Fangs to block one of our ground creatures, gain a bunch of life. So I think it's doubly risky to play the Choco. So I think we're just swinging with the Flyers again here. Cast down the Phantom. Okay, not too upset by that. Still have Counterspell mana, but I think we'll cast a Veteran and then we'll Skyfisher if they counter this. Nice. So we get to resolve a Skyfisher now. Pick up the Inspector. This is the nice thing about playing White Weenie, especially against like a counterspell deck. They have lots of counters and removal, but if they... we have so many cards that are so expendable, like even if they counter a Skyfisher, it's not the end of the world, but of course this is one of our better creatures, and so if we're able to bait it out with some other smaller creatures, we can resolve something nice like this. So they're going to swing at the Terror. I'm just going to take it. We're still above 20, and they only have 1 land open, so I think we're just going to do the Choco. Hoping for no Force Spike or a Null in the main deck, which would be weird. If not, we're just going to swing all out. They can block the Informant, go to 2. They trade for a bird and die instead. So that is a choice. Alright, we only have a couple sideboard cards, another Journey and Destroy Evil, but we're already pretty well set up against them. We take out a Novice Inspector and a Steadfast Unicorn. While the life gain from the Veterans doesn't necessarily seem the most important, if you have 2 of them, as we saw, we can get a lot of life, which can really offset their clock. And also just the ability to have 2 chump blockers or turn it into a flyer is really good here. That was a win off of that mull to 5, because we did have a reasonable mull to 5 if we hit that second land drop, which we did, obviously. This is yet again a mulligan, though. All right, finally have 2 lands. We're going to keep, and Charm is too important. I think I just want to keep the cards from the Inspectors, probably. So I'll get rid of the Veteran this time. Play an Inspector. They're just going to pass. Journey's not bad. We'll swing for 1, and I assume we're just going to pass because they're holding up Counterspell mana. Don't really want to just run a Skyfisher into a Counterspell, so we'll hold up a Clue or a Thraben Charm. If they, like, Thought Scour here, hit a Snacker. If they do another one, that's 4 spells and a Snacker. I think we're just going to exile that right now. It's unfortunate we have to do it so quickly, especially off of just a couple of their cantrips. But Snacker getting rid of is pretty nice, and 4 spells they could put a Terror down for 3 mana, or more likely play another Thought Scour and then play a Terror or 2. Don't really want that to happen, so... And if we're lucky, they don't have many other Mental Notes or Thought Scours, and we won't have to worry about such fast filling the graveyard again. We're going to play an Inspector here. If they counterspell this, then I can get a Skyfisher down. probably. And if not, we'll just let it resolve and crack another clue here. They do have the third Thought Scour. It's another snacker, but no spells. I also wanted to do it on their end step before so they couldn't like abandon attachments or brainstorm to try to get the snacker back on their turn. I'm going to crack a clue, so here if they do have one of those cards, they could get back the snacker, but it looks like not. Double Strands, not quite where we want to be. One of them's not bad, but 2 is a lot. They're going to cast down an Inspector here. Just trying to use their mana and fill their graveyard, I think. I want a Skyfisher because we don't have a lot of pressure. If they counterspell, it's kind of bad, but I think we just got to get something going. Yeah, they have the counterspell. I could have just held up Clue. That's a lot better when I have 2 creatures on board dealing at least a couple damage and a Thraben Charm to hold up. But they cycle a Lorien, play a 3-mana Terror. We'll crack a Clue, Inspector, Guardian's Pledge. So I could play an Inspector and then hold up like a Prismatic for this. I could just try to journey it right now. I don't have to pay the ward until it enters, so if they have like an Annul or something, which would still be kind of a weird one for them to bring in, but then I could play an Inspector. I think we're going to journey. I don't mind like having a reason to use the Prismatic Strands, but I'd rather not have to deal with a counterspell for the journey later. And they're blue-black, so this journey's pretty much just a full removal spell. No chance of it coming back unless they have like a Demon Fury or a bounce spell of some sort. All right, no Brainstorm on the end step to get the snacker is nice as well. Play an Ice Tunnel. We still know they have an island. So a little flooded. They cycled out Lorien last turn for not a lot of gain. And then looks like they don't have much else to play. Play an Inspector here. Crack the Clue right away, just in case we get a land. I guess I should have done this pre-combat in case we got a Grange for an extra damage. Ooh, another Inspector's not bad, actually. This could die to like an Arms of Hadar, but actually we have the Remosian Rally to keep him alive through that, so assuming there's no, counterspell. So that's decent. And now we get a Battle Screech. Well, we can't keep these guys alive through an Arms of Hadar, but with the Rally, but we could through a Suffocating Fumes. They counterspell, and I'm just gonna flash it back. This gives us lethal with the Guardian's Pledge next turn, assuming we can keep all our guys around. They're gonna hardcast a Snuff Out on an Inspector. That's a good sign. Snuff Out, usually one I would take out in this matchup just because we don't have a lot of great targets, but Skyfisher. So we could go for lethal, because I could play Skyfisher, bounce a land, replay it, and then use the Skyfisher to cast the Rally and then cast the Guardian's Pledge. It's very all-in, but we've seen they don't have a lot going on. I think we just cast the Skyfisher and see if that resolves. Does. Yeah, I think we'll go for it. Swing with the team. They have a Snuff Out. Okay, they have 2 extra mana. They have a Boomerang or something? No, they just way overpaid. So this is now 12 damage, and then if they get a board wipe, it's not amazing. I'm going to cast the Guardian's Pledge and hold up the Rally for a board wipe, I think is the best way to do this. Pass to them. Mental Note, it's a snacker, and they concede. Alright, well, we got there against Dimir Terror. Alright, this hand is pretty good. We are against fairies this time. Generally, we have a pretty favored matchup because we have a lot of flying blockers, and Prismatic Strands can blank all their ninjas and different things like that. We get a Screech. I think Veteran's also pretty relevant here. They're not obviously a fast burn deck or anything, but if we're gaining 2 life a turn, that can offset like a lot of the damage they can deal in a single turn. So we'll see if they have a ninja. Can't do much about it. And they do. It's a big one. Another Informant. Okay, I wouldn't have hated another 1-drop, so I could just like double Inspector here. But we'll play an Informant since we have it. I think we want Battle Screech to cast twice. I don't think we want to pitch it here just because it's really good in this matchup. And especially if it gets countered once, we can flash it back. So I think we're getting rid of either an Inspector or an Informant. Probably an Inspector. I mean, Informant's technically less value, and it's going to be hard for it to get in through like Brine Bears and stuff. It's harder to counter, though, with a Spell Stutter. We'll discard an Inspector. And I think we're just passing here. If I attack and then they have like a Harrier Strix to tap this, I don't love that. I think I'd chump since I can get the Veteran back if they do have the Strix. This also lets me, if they just attack, I can double block, because if I just block here, they could Brine Barrow to shrink the Informant. A double block lets that, makes it so that doesn't work. And I don't think the 1 damage is worth it. We're going to be slightly slower game for sure. They Seer and Scribe both to the top, but just pass. So Spell Stutter on 2. Don't really want either of these to get Spell Stuttered. think we'll play an Inspector. We're holding up Thraben Charm mana, so they might be too worried about going for it. Plus, it's, you know, it's a 1-drop, so it's not as high value. But if it resolves, then I also get to crack a Clue, which is pretty nice here. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Don't have any flyers yet, but next turn, hopefully with the Screech, we'll be able to get a bunch. So they could Ninja again next turn. I think I'm just passing. I could attack with the Informant, but then again, if they have a Brine Barrow, they just get an easy removal spell there. I don't really like that. Plus, I want to keep all of my creatures for the Battle Screech next turn, because if they counter the first half of it, I need all 3 of them untapped and alive to be able to flash it back. So they go for a Brainstorm. Mono Blue Fairies doesn't often play Brainstorm, so that's interesting. It might not be Mono Blue. It could be Dimir. There have been several times where I think it's Mono Blue. It is Dimir. All right, that changes things because the Dimir Ninjas matchup's a lot better for them because of the fact that Black gets board wipes. So it means fewer ninjas, so, you know, I didn't get ninja'd there, which is nice, but Skyfisher's good too. Obviously, it also just means more removal. I think we'll Grange on Inspector. This means it can block a ninja. I think we're going to Battle Screech. It gets countered. We flash it back, and we hope that there's no Suffocating Fumes right away. But if not, it's really good because next turn I can, like, Choco. They do have the Counterspell. I'm also hoping for no Spell Pierce here, but alright. No Spell Pierce. Also, if they had the Suffocating Fumes, feels like they'd probably just let it resolve, because then they can just wipe the birds away right away anyway, but maybe not the case. Alright. Maybe I should have put the counter on the Veteran so that it didn't die to a Fumes. That could have been better, actually. They go up to 4 cards. I mean, we're not dead by any means, but definitely a bit unfortunate here. Another Choco. Okay, they just concede. Again, I wasn't in a bad spot. I think I was in a decent spot, but, like, it was definitely still a live game. I think I was gonna play Choco, attack for 7, and then play Skyfisher, probably pick up the Grange. Putting the counter on the Inspector actually makes it so I don't want to pick it up with the Skyfisher, so that could have been another reason that was an error. We'll see if they are playing the second game. I guess their hand could have just been full of lands and they could see the writing on the wall. Alright, we're cutting a couple 1-drops. We don't usually need a Unicorn in this matchup to, like, break through. And we're bringing in another Journey, which is a nice removal spell, and Palace Sentinels. It can be tough to keep the Monarch, but they're already going to be playing Monarch, so having our Monarch creature to take it without having to deal damage can be really good. So we're going to be very hesitant to cast that proactively. Unless we think we can keep it, but alright, they do in fact just concede the game. I don't know what's going on there. They must have, you know, had to go to work or something, but I guess we won. Alright, last round here. Hand is decent. I'd love to draw an Inspector to pick up with this Skyfisher for a little more value, but we still have 1-drop, 2-drop, some interaction. They choose white, so it looks like we're probably against Bogles. Obviously, the double Journey is pretty bad against Bogles. Thraben Charm quite a bit better. But we don't have a terrible matchup here. Prismatic Strands does a lot of work. Thraben Charm is really good. We have some extra enchantment removal in the sideboard. Play Rancor and Ethereal Armor, so 6-4 already. Battle Screech. Journey doesn't do anything, so I guess we're just playing the Skyfisher, picking up the Veteran. They have a Slippery Bogle and an Ancestral Mask, so 13 damage. And we're dead already. We get to cut the Journeys and the Steadfast in exchange for Destroy Evil, Revoke Existence, and 2 Standard Bearers. Standard Bearer is pretty good here. Makes it so they have to target our guys with their pump spells, their auras that is, unless of course they have like a Standard Bearer of their own or can end up killing the bearer. Definitely have to keep a hand with interaction and lands. Revoke and Thraben Charm. Yeah, we'll keep this one, get rid of the Guardian's Pledge, I guess. I mean, I don't love our creature situation here. Veteran and Choco is not really where we want to be, but there's a Bogle. Another Veteran. I'm just going to pass. If we're lucky, they'll equip this with, like, a Rancor and one other thing that pumps Toughness in order to try and then, like, attack. But then we can Thraben Charm the Toughness pumper, and then they can trade. Like, that'd be pretty good. Unfortunately, they just play another Ledgewalker. Or not another Ledgewalker, just another Bogle, I suppose. We get the Standard Bearer. I think we have to just play it. The concern is that they could just have a Ram Through or something to kill it right away. But we don't have a Prismatic Strands. We don't have the lands for Strands, so we're pretty far away from being able to protect it anyway. But if they don't have the ability to deal with it, then this will just stop them in their tracks, which would be nice. They play a Sprawl in a Forest. Looks like they're passing the turn. Well, probably swinging in for 1, but looks like Standard Bearer lives another day. I could blow up the enchantment here so they don't lose, or they don't have white mana. Not sure that matters too much. I think with the Inspector, we're just playing Veteran Inspector, trying to go wide here, gain some life. I'll even attack them for 1. Standard Bearer's never getting in the red zone, but this Veteran certainly can. They have an Abundant Growth. So yeah, cutting them off white mana wouldn't have done anything for that. Plus, I just think most of their white spells are, their removal spells are probably going to be green with like a ram through. So I don't think it really matters to cut off the white in order to like protect the bearer. I guess they do sometimes play Thraben Charm as well, so maybe there was some merit to that, but they commune with spirits, just finding another Sprawl. Sprawls, of course, have to enchant, well, these specifically a forest, this a land, so like they obviously can't target the bearer with it, so they're allowed to still cast them as normal. And if we get a land here, then we can just play Choco and start hitting for a good amount, make it so they don't have a ton of turns to find removal. Battle Screech. I think I'm just cracking a clue then. Like, I could hold up a Thraben Charm for if they get a kill spell for this, but I can't, like, kill their guy, and then they try to pump it. I think I'd rather just try to find the land, and I'm going to crack it now because I could find a Grange that would enter tapped. But we'll swing for 3. Without that extra land, we have pretty slow clock. Like, we're giving them a 6 turns to find an answer here, whereas the Choco would turn it into, like, 2 turns. We hit for 6, and then turn after we can hit for 9. I guess that's not quite lethal, but... They swing for 1, and it's our go. Destroy Evil. Well, we have nothing to play except for instant speed. Well, I guess sorcery speed here. Enchantment removal, so we're just gonna leave something up in case it's relevant, but they have 5 mana, 3 white, 3 green, so it doesn't really make any sense to take care of any of those. So they do play a forest, so that was probably their draw for the turn. We're down back to 20. Ooh, okay, another standard bearer. That's pretty good. So we're still not going to attack with this one, because if I attack and they trade, and I play this, and then they find the removal spell, then they're unlocked. Whereas the second one of these, I think, should just seal the game. Seeing as they haven't been able to deal with one, now even if they do draw the ram through or whatever, second one's going to be clutch. Swing for 1. We do draw the land, but it is a Grange, so that enters tapped. So I'll still just be hitting for 3 here. Passing the turn. They play a Plains. Swing for 1. We get an Informant. So if I play Choco, I could technically attack with everything, hit for 8, even if they block 1. But if they have the ram through and they get to block ram through, that could be really bad. So I don't think we're going to take that chance. So I could just Choco and hit for 3. Or 6 rather. Or I could just Informant, pitch a Battle Screech. I think that's better, and then next turn I can Choco for a lot. This gains more life. It just lets us go wider. Ooh, we even get a Grange, which actually I'm going to put a counter on a standard bear to make it harder to kill. Flashback. They shouldn't have any way to pump this, so actually I guess I want to attack with the standard bearer now. Flash this back, hit for 4. So I still would not attack with the bearer unless it had gotten this counter. I'll pass the turn, see if they have any way to get out of this. Alright, we win that one, and we just got to do that again. Get another standard bearer, and be able to protect it. We weren't really able to protect it. They just luckily didn't have any removal. But even if they had started going a little bit, we did have multiple ways to blow up enchantments. So theoretically, if they only had 1 or 2 really good ones, like 1 or 2 Ancestral Masks or Ethereal Armors, then we could have maybe dealt with those and still not lost on the spot. But obviously the Standard Bears is an easier way to just win in that matchup. Thraben Charm is interaction. Strands is okay. I don't really love this though. Obviously Standard Bear is the best. I'm not necessarily going to mulligan to that, but Strands just delays, which is okay if we have aggression of our own, but with 1 veteran we don't, so I think we're going to mulligan this one. They also have mulliganed. I mean, this hand is about the same but worse. Well, I mean, the Extra Inspector is honestly pretty decent. I think if they mulligan, I'm going to keep, and if they keep, I might mulligan. Right, because if they go down to 5, they're just trying to keep whatever, and then my hand is like, okay, 1 interaction piece. But if they keep, they've found like a serviceable 6. I don't know. Actually, I think we should just keep. We're still on 6. We gotta get rid of a Plains. Hand's not amazing, but again, maybe we can catch them with the Thraben Charm. Blowing up one of their enchantments. They're gonna Sprawl. There's a Screech. I think I'm gonna Inspector. It's potentially missing out on a life, but the next turn I get to hold up Clue and Thraben Charm, and if I don't use the Charm, I get to correct the Clue. And the Clue also hides a little bit the fact that I'm gonna potentially be using the Charm. I don't know. Sentinel's Eyes. That's it from them. A Grange. So we're gonna pass. So if they attack with just this, then I could Charm to blow up the Sentinel's Eyes and block. I'm not really expecting that, but it's an option. Another Bogle. Now killing this isn't as appealing. They don't even attack because they're worried about the Charm. Alright, I'll crack a Clue. We have Flyers in a bit for the Ledgewalker, so I'm not in a terrible spot. Eagles, not looking amazing. I'll play the Veteran and just pass. They have an Abundant Growth and nothing else. No 3-drop enchantment unless they're trying to save it. They could swing for 1 flying. Their hand could consist of like a ram through or something, so if we get the Standard Bearer, they could kill it. Oh, they're going to attack with both. This is weird. What would they have that would, like, because I can double block here, and I'm pretty happy with that trade. And I think we're going to do that. I'm trying to think what they could have to blow us out. I can still blow up the Sentinel's Eyes if I really want. They're just going to trade that? I guess they want the Sentinel's Eyes to go on the Ledgewalker, but that doesn't even happen quite yet. Like, they need another card in their grave. They're going to pass. I'm very okay with that trade. But I think their goal is to make the Ledgewalker bigger. Inspector. Alright, we're just playing the Battle Screech. I don't want the counter on the Veteran. I want to save it for either a Flyer or potentially the Standard Bearer if I get that, so I'm specifically saving the Grange for now. We're gonna make a bunch of birds, see what they got. This is the first time we've been tapped out, so it's possible they'll take advantage of it. But they don't have a ton of mana, just 3, so they could like Armadillo Cloak hit for 3, not too scary. Or they could Ancestral Mask, hit for 5, not too bad either. Of course, they could play land, do one of those, and like an Ethereal Armor, that could be decent. Communed Spirits gives them that extra card in their grave they needed. Finds them a Rancor. Trample is nice, but no toughness boost, so this alone doesn't keep their Ledgewalker alive, but obviously it with like an Ethereal Armor could be pretty good. They're going to cast it. Or the Sentinel's Eyes, I guess, makes it a 4-2, but if they do that in attack, I can double block, which I'd be fine with, I think. Yep, no attacks. They're just suiting up for later. Shoko lets me have for 10, 11, plus we get to hold up a Grange, or a Charm rather, for if they get like lifelink or something, so then I can just kill them in about 2 turns. I guess that's pretty decent. Counter here. Like now we're just trying to race, but with the ability to take away any lifelink they can get is pretty good. Swing for 11 and pass the turn. Another Bogle. They're going to swing for 4. I don't think I care about that. And just pass the turn. Another Choco I think is going to put it away. Even if they block, they're still taking 12. They would need a way to gain a bunch of life or kill 2 attackers. They make some blocks, currently taking 13 damage. They have a Tamiyo's Safekeeping for Indestructible, gain 2 life. Okay, they're still dead. Even if they have another Tamiyo's, they're dead. Alright. So we get there against Bogles. Alright, we had a very rough start to the league, I would say, and we ended up with a 3-2. I guess kind of a 2-2 if you don't want to count that Dimir Fairies round, which I think is fair. But still a decent recovery from an 0-2 with against Elves. That first game was really close. Really unfortunate we didn't get there. I think they had some medium draws. You know, they drew a few lands in the middle of the game, but they drew what they needed at the end. They drew a random creature to block that one turn, and then when they attacked again, they needed specifically to draw a reach creature, and they did that as well. And then Mono Red Madness, you know, even though we're a white deck with some life gain, damage prevention, Gutter Snipe can just get you out of nowhere, and I think we had some rough draws as well. So, not necessarily the best showcase, but against Dimir Terror, we pretty solidly stomped them, and Bogles is definitely a pretty favored matchup for us as well. Standard Bearer showing off its power, and then also just having so many ways to blow up enchantments. Didn't actually come up as far as like actually casting them, but if they did get a big enchantment, obviously, could have been pretty relevant. So, I hope you enjoyed. I think this deck is very sweet and very good in the meta in general. Elves and Mono Red Madness, honestly, 2 of the worst matchups for us to go against. But any sort of terror deck, Grixis, Jund, Fairies, and if we're against more like a Red Rally instead of the Mono Red Madness, we have a lot of really good matchups against most of those. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks to my $10 and up supporters. If you want to support me on a monthly basis, go ahead and check out my Metafy link down below. It's the best way to make sure I continue putting out daily videos. Thanks to my current supporters, including Howard Granger, Rafa Rodriguez, JDNPX, Adam Cadmon, Apple Beta Pie, Halkaz, Cody Cowell, and Sty. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.